Between the extremes of passion and peace lies the transformative process of transmutation, a sacred alchemy of the soul. This is not a distant or abstract concept, a theory locked in books, but a very real experience within the human heart. Fire that reshapes what it touches. Through transmutation, the base material of error, doubt, fear, selfishness is burned away, leaving only the pure gold of truth, radiant and unblemished. The struggle and the inner shift, when temptation leads to deep sorrow and confusion, storm that clouds the mind, the individual striving for freedom discovers that the root of their suffering lies within themselves, not in the world beyond. The outer struggle is often the first course of action because of a lack of understanding about mental causation, a blindness to the invisible threads. Fighting external forces, people, events, fates, while necessary in the beginning, cannot bring true liberation, cannot break the chains. The key to freedom is the recognition that transformation must happen within, a turning of the soil of the soul, not outside in the shifting sands of circumstance. Once this deeper understanding of mental cause and effect is realized, a light piercing the fog, true transmutation begins, a spark catching flame. This knowledge guides the person away from the exhausting fight against external circumstances, pushing against immovable stone, toward a focus on transforming their inner thought patterns, replanting the garden of the mind with seeds of peace. The process of transmutation, from desire to purity, spiritual transmutation requires a fundamental shift in the way one perceives and responds to the world, a pivot from shadow to light. It involves turning away from self-centered desires, grasping, clutching, craving, and instead aligning the mind with the higher principles, love, truth, harmony. The desires that once led to conflict, that tangle the heart in knots, are gradually replaced by a more refined energy, a purer current, transmuted into pure spiritual force, a river redirected to a nobler course. In this process, the energy that previously fueled selfish wants, more for me, less for them, is not destroyed, not cast into the void, but redirected, a flame turned to a lantern. It is transferred from lower self-serving urges, vanity, greed, lust, to higher, more enlightened aspirations, service, wisdom, unity. This shift is in alignment with the universal law of energy conservation, a truth that governs both the physical and mental realms, a balance unbroken. As old desires are abandoned, their force is liberated, set free for more elevated purposes, wings given to a caged bird. The stage of sacrifice and renunciation, transmutation, involves a period of sacrifice, a shedding of the old to make way for the new, where old thoughts, desires, and attachments must be relinquished, released into the wind. This can be difficult, a tearing of roots long buried, as it often requires letting go of long-held ideas, beliefs clung to like lifelines, and pleasures once thought essential, comforts that dulled the edge of growth. However, as one surrenders these attachments, a miracle unfolds. They are reborn in a purer form, like precious jewels, remolded into more beautiful adornments. Glittering with new light through this process, the aspirant comes to see that what was once painful or difficult to let go of, a lover's touch, a dream's promise, is actually transformed into a more enduring source of joy, wisdom, and spiritual power, a wellspring that never runs dry. What was once thought to be a loss, a hollow ache, is in reality the beginning of a deeper gain, a harvest richer than the seed, clarity and distinction between error and truth as the mind undergoes transmutation. A person's ability to distinguish between truth and error sharpens, a blade honed by the whetstone of experience. In the early stages, this shift can be uncomfortable, a stirring of the silt as painful emotions, regret, shame, anger, surface to be transformed, rising like ghosts to be laid to rest. However, this brief discomfort gives way to pure spiritual joy, a sunrise after the storm, as the individual embraces the process of growth, stepping into the light with open arms. Initially, one might believe that the source of their pain lies in others, their actions cutting deep, their words stinging sharp, their attitudes cold and hard. However, as they realize that these reactions are rooted in their own inner state, their own unhealed wounds, they can move beyond suffering into peace, a crossing of the river to calmer shores. This realization marks the first step in the process of transmutation, the first note in a new song. When a person stops blaming external circumstances, fate, foes, fortune, and instead turns inward to examine their own thoughts and responses, they begin the journey toward liberation, a path carved by their own hands. The conversion of selfishness to truth, transmutation, at its core, is the conversion of selfishness into truth, a melting down of the ego's armor. A person who has learned to stop blaming others for their suffering understands that their own selfishness, the need to be right, to be first to be seen, is what keeps them trapped in cycles of pain, a wheel that spins without end. The enlightened individual, through inner work, silent reflection, steady effort, purifies their heart and redirects their energy into higher, more moral impulses, a compass reset to true north. The unrefined elements of the self, pride, envy, greed, are cast into the fire of transformation, and from them emerges the gold of truth, shining and whole. The wise individual no longer reacts from passion, a flare of heat and haste, ego, a fragile shell, or anger, a storm without aim. They meet hatred with love, a balm for the wound, chaos with peace, a stillness that holds, and return good for evil, a gift where a curse was expected. As they face external challenges, harsh words, cold shoulders, they draw upon their inner reserves of peace and strength, deep wells that never run dry, manifesting goodness no matter what the world throws at them, a light unbroken by shadow. The fool versus the wise man, a radical difference. The difference between the fool and the wise man is profound, a chasm wide and deep. The fool reacts to negative situations with more negativity, returning anger for anger, a mirror of rage, hate for hate, a cycle unbroken, and evil for evil, a chain forged anew. The wise man, however, responds with love, peace, and compassion, turning every negative encounter into an opportunity to express the goodness within, a seed planted in barren soil. This difference lies in their understanding of transmutation, the alchemy of the soul. The fool remains trapped in their own selfishness, a prisoner of their own making, while the wise man has learned to purify and transform their passions into intellectual and moral force, a power that builds rather than breaks. This mental energy, once wasted on petty desires and actions, spite, revenge, vanity, becomes a powerful tool for the pursuit of wisdom and the accomplishment of noble purposes, a river harnessed for greater good. The final stage, peace and power through purification. The more a person purifies their heart and thoughts, stripping away the grime of ego, the rust of resentment, the more they rise into inner peace, a summit reached step by step. Mental energy that was once expended on negative desires, grasping, hoarding, fearing, can now be channeled toward higher goals, a current turned to light, leading to wisdom that sees, compassion that heals, and ultimately, spiritual enlightenment that frees, just as water becomes steam and gains a new, more powerful form, rising to the sky, so too does passion become intellectual and moral energy, driving the individual toward the highest states of being, a force that lifts them beyond the horizon. The transformation is profound, a rebirth of the spirit, as the negative forces that once held a person captive, anger, lust, doubt, are converted into new, life-giving power, a wellspring of strength and grace, embracing the opposites, transmuting negative forces into positive power. The process of transmutation is marked by the realization that opposites are not separate, but interconnected, two sides of the same coin. Where there is passion, peace can be found, a calm within the storm. Where there is suffering, bliss is near, a joy born from the ashes. By turning away from the negative aspects of life, hatred, despair, division, and focusing on the positive, love, hope, unity, one can transcend sorrow, sin, and evil, rising above the mire like a lotus from the mud. This shift of focus from the negative to the positive is the essence of transmutation, turning impure desires into pure aspirations, a refining of the raw and transforming lower forces into moral and spiritual power, a lifting of the heavy into the light. The wise individual, through purification of thought and action, steady, deliberate, true, ascends above the distractions of the material world, the glitter that blinds. They rise above sin, suffering, and temptation, and step into the realm of divine consciousness, experiencing the transcendence of the highest spiritual truths, a union with the infinite.